If you're looking to buy a house in New Hampshire, you're probably worrying to yourself, even before you start searching for a home, when the time comes, how do I make my offer stand out in such a competitive market here in New Hampshire? Because if you don't know, New Hampshire has been one of the hotter real estate markets in the last few years. And I believe towards the end of last year, Manchester, New Hampshire was in the top 5 hottest markets throughout the whole United States, which is absolutely crazy for a small state like New Hampshire to get the recognition like that of being one of the hottest real estate markets. A big part is because a lot of people moved up from cities like New York, Connecticut areas, those cities, Boston, Massachusetts in general, up to New Hampshire during the time of COVID when people were able to work remotely. So house prices did go up pretty dramatically in the last few years, and it's definitely still a competitive market, but I'm going to jump into some good strategies if you're looking in New Hampshire of how to make your offer stand out, how to make it get accepted, and what you should be actually thinking about when you're in that situation of making an offer. So let's dive into some good insider tips right now. Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Shane Moynihan. I'm a local real estate agent and investor based right out of Keene, New Hampshire. And if you have any questions about buying a house, moving to New Hampshire, investing in real estate, feel free to drop them below in the comments or in my description below. I actually have a link to a buyer's consultation that you can just schedule a 30-minute call with me and we can jump on a call and discuss things if you're actually looking to move this way or have questions. So feel free to use that. Let's dive right into this video now. So the first thing we're going to touch base on is understanding the local real estate market in New Hampshire and really why you need a local expert as your agent to help you with the purchase of a house. So in New Hampshire right now, like I said, it's one of the hotter markets in the whole entire country. Now, the thing is, it's hot in certain locations. Like I said, Manchester was one of the hottest markets in the whole United States last year, but places around there aren't as hot. So you really want to hire yourself a local real estate agent. And when I mean local, I mean like pretty local. Like I'm in Keene, New Hampshire, and I don't go further than about an hour and a half outside of Keene, New Hampshire, because, well, guess what? After that, the market changes, and to keep up with a whole state real estate market is just too much. So you really want an agent that's not overdoing themselves and trying to cover Mass, New Hampshire, and Maine at the same time, when it's hard enough to do just one whole state. So you want someone that knows that area that you're looking in well. And if it's over that and you're looking in a couple different areas, maybe tell that to your agent so they can hook you up with a great referral for that other area you're looking at if they don't drive that far away. So you can still have two great agents and not just one that says, oh, I'll drive over there, even though they have no clue about that market that's 2.5 hours away. And understanding the New Hampshire market is huge, because if you find that you're looking over here towards Keene where I live, well, guess what? I'm going to probably tell you it's a little bit less competitive than if you were looking in Hillsborough County towards Manchester or towards the seacoast, because over here homes are starting to sit, where over there they're still flying right off the shelf. So you really want to find yourself someone that's super hyper local and have that person be your go-to contact. And now the second thing you're going to want to do in this market to make your offer stand out is get a pre-approval. So I always suggest before you even look at a house, but if you want to find an agent first, that's an exception, because an agent can hook you up with a great lender. So reach out to a local lender. Again, local. You want these people in the state because it just helps so much with actually making the transaction go smoothly, going according to plan, and they know the local New Hampshire real estate market better than some big box lender that is based out of, like, I don't even know where they're based out of, but just say like Missouri or Oklahoma or somewhere out west, and they don't even know what New Hampshire is. So you want to find yourself a local lender, get pre-approved so that you look serious going into the offer. The next point we're going to touch on is making a strong offer. So once you find that house, you're going to do some searching, of course, before you actually want to find a house to put an offer on. Once you go to put in that offer, you want to make sure you're putting in a strong offer in certain situations. What I mean by a strong offer is a strong offer in that situation. Now, when you hear strong offer, you probably hear, well, what's the highest price you're going to pay, and make that offer immediately. Depending. It's very dependent. Like I said, if you're out here with me in Keene, there can be some houses that have been sitting on the market for 15, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. And I'm not going to tell you make your strongest possible offer with the highest price if there's 0 offers on the table and it's just been sitting on the market. I'm going to say, hey, what's the lowest you want to go in at that's not going to be offensive to the actual seller and not just get rejected off the bat, but might bring a counter, or they just accept it. So you really want, again, to know that local market, why you need a local real estate agent so that they can actually tell that to you, because you as a buyer doesn't have to do the research and know all that stuff. That's why you hire that out, hire a professional like me to tell you, hey, this property's been sitting 30 days. There's no reason to go in at list price, go in a little bit lower and just see what they do. Now, again, there are some hot properties around here. I just showed one this weekend. Before I even scheduled the showing, it went live on Thursday. I scheduled the showing Friday morning, and they're like, just so you know, we have a deadline Monday morning for offers already. So it's very case by case. Get yourself a great agent. When you're making a strong offer, a couple things you want to be thinking about is, of course, what are you going to go in the price? Earnest money deposit, which is the deposit you put down usually within 5 days of an accepted offer, and it's known as a good faith deposit. Essentially, you're putting down a little bit of money because you got the property under contract, but you're not going to be closing on it for probably 3 to 6 weeks. So you're like, hey, here's this little bit of money. It's usually 1 to 3% of the purchase price. So here's this, and then the listing agent usually holds it in an escrow account until closing. So if you make that earnest money deposit, say closer to 3% rather than 1%, well, guess what? You're going to look like a stronger borrower, because you're like, hey, instead of $6,000 I'm going to give you $18,000 to show you how serious I am. Now, there's another thing. If you're in one of those multiple offer situations, you can always do what's an escalation clause is called. And that is essentially, it's putting your offer on a sliding scale that has a way to escalate it without you actually saying, here's my one and only price, and I'm not going to move off that. So if you had an offer, say you put it in at $350,000, but you know there's multiple offers and $350 is the list price, you know it's going to sell over, because guess what? Your local real estate expert said, hey, this is going to go over. It has multiple offers. So you say, okay, well, I want to go in at list price so I don't overpay, but I'm willing to go up to $375. So you do that and you write it in increments. So say you go up $1,000 over the next offer. So if you're in at $350, you can go up to $375. Say they get an offer at $360, you automatically bump your offer up to $361. So it's a very good strategy. Now again, case by case, and you want to use it where it makes sense. Next thing we're going to talk about in a strong offer is contingencies. What do you want to keep? What do you want to waive? How strong do you want your offer to actually be? Because of course, inspections were this huge thing during COVID that basically went away because so many people were either just buying cash, paying so much over list price and over appraised price. It was just wild. So many people were just waiving the inspections completely. Over on my side of the state, inspections are coming back. They're becoming way more regular in offers. So it's not as big of a deal, but there are ways to write up an inspection contingency where it can be for informational purposes only. It can be, hey, we have a limit of $5,000. So anything under that, I'm not going to ask for any price moves or any repairs. But if there's something bigger that's above $5,000 to repair, I'm going to ask for either a price drop, that to be repaired before closing, or figure it out in negotiations after. So there's a few things to do with that. And then there's also the financing contingency. Of course, if you're paying cash, that's going to look way more strong if you're doing a 3.5% down FHA. But you want to make sure the financing contingency, again, having yourself a good local lender. So when you send in that offer, that real estate agent could be like, hey, I know this lender. They're awesome to work with, and relate that to the sellers to be like, hey, this is a really strong lender. I've worked with them numerous times and they're always on top of their game and closing on time. That's huge. And then the next thing we're going to touch base on is a personal touch. Now this one's a little bit 50-50. Some sellers absolutely hate it, and some even write in the MLS, do not send me this. But it's a personal touch letter, basically explaining your situation, why you want the house, what your plans are to do with the house, maybe why you're moving to the area if you're moving from out of state. Just a little explanation of, hey, this is who I am, this is why I'm interested in your house, this is what I like about your house, this is what I hope to do with your house if I was the one to buy the house. Now again, you can't get like too touchy-feely, and you can't get like too, oh, feel bad for me, accept my offer. It's just more of a base, hey, this is me, this is who's going to be buying your house, because some people are really sentimental about their house and want to know it's going to someone good that wants to update the property and keep it looking great and add flower beds or whatever it is. They like knowing that. But other sellers, like I said, will write it in the MLS listing, do not send over letters. So it's definitely a little bit 50-50, but it can help. Last year, I had a bunch of buyers put that letter in, and a lot of the listing agents said, hey, your letter was a big reason of why it got accepted. Because again, Homeowners want their home going to someone that's going to take care of it, even though they're selling and it's not their home anymore. And the last thing I want to touch on is flexibility in your offer. So being flexible with the seller, making them feel like this is a good choice to pick you. So whether that's you're flexible on closing dates, maybe you can set it out a few months to help them with their move if they need more time. Maybe you can move it up if they're like, I need to get out of here and I'm gone already. So it depends what the situation is and how you can best present yourself to the seller to fit those needs. That's why you want to work with an experienced agent who's going to go to the listing agent and be like, hey, what most matters to your seller in an offer, so we know what we're working with and how we can best appeal to them. And then you also want to just really, with whatever the seller is asking for, have some flexibility of doing it, because of course they're the ones that are more in control. They're the ones with the house to sell to you. So if they need a lease back maybe after the closing, or if they need really anything that's just a little bit flexibility that you can provide. Maybe you're renting right now and you don't have to get out immediately, so you can provide them a lease back of a month or two if they need time to move out of the house. Little things like that. Again, real estate is super case by case, and probably more now than ever in my past 5 years, it's case by case, because again, there's some houses that are going in the first weekend, like the one I mentioned earlier, and other houses and I've been sitting for 60, 70, 80 days that can go under. So it's very case by case. That's why you want to get yourself a pro when you actually get a real estate agent. And please, I try saying this numerous times in numerous videos. If you hire yourself a real estate agent, listen to that real estate agent when you're going to make an offer. They're not trying to talk you up in price. They're not trying to do anything bad. They're taking what they feel from you, how badly you want the house, and trying to get you that house. So if you're dying for the house, they know there's multiple offers. They're going to be like, you have to go in super strong to actually get this house. Again, the other side. If it's sitting, you don't have to go in strong. Even though you want the house a ton, there's no offer. So let's just go in a little bit low. So it's just finding that and finding who will work best for you. So you want a local real estate agent that's going to do good. You want to get a pre-approval. You want to make sure when you're writing up your offer, you're writing it up that makes sense for that particular house. Whether it's a hot house, whether it's a house that's been sitting and can go below list, whatever it is, write up the best offer for that situation. You want to understand what the contingencies are and how much they affect your offer, because again, multiple offers with inspections, well, that's a lot less appealing than if they have 0 offers in the last 30 days and they get one with inspections. Well, guess what? They're probably going to take it because it's the only offer they've had in the last 30 days. So it's really figuring that out. And then if you can add a personal touch, it's always good. And being flexible with the seller helps so much. It'll make this transaction that much smoother. So I really hope this video added a decent amount of value, because it provided you with a little bit of the insight of New Hampshire. If you still have questions or anything about the New Hampshire market, just put right down below in the comments. Or if you want to talk to me personally, feel free to reach out on Instagram. Or again, there's a link down below in the description to a buyer's consultation where you can schedule a free 30-minute call with me. We can jump on there, talk about how I can help you and how I can assist you and hopefully move into New Hampshire and finding yourself a house. So if this video did add some value, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you guys next week.